On News 5 Live, Sir Manuel remembered. Music, memories, and cannons fired at State Memorial Service. Police response sends man to the hospital. And fuel price hikes puts pressure on taxi drivers. These stories and more up next on News 5 Live.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
Are you looking for the right product to keep your family and your home safe? Then Spark Alcohol is exactly what you've been looking for. It prevents the spread of many diseases. It's also fast drying, safe, and conveniently packaged in a spray bottle. Protect your family and your home with Spark Alcohol. Exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited.
Small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, in tourism are invited to submit proposals for financial incentives under the Matching Grant Program, or MGP. The MGP is an activity under the Sustainable Tourism Program, which provides funding to support projects that are beneficial to tourism, including COVID prevention, environmental, skills development, technology investment, marketing, or economic development. Targeted sectors include accommodation, food and beverage, transportation, travel trade, events and conferences, adventure and attractions, tourism services, tourism education and training, and other tourism-related services. Interested SMEs must complete and submit the required expression of interest forms for assessment and eligibility by February 21 at 4 p.m. Submit your expression of interest today. For more information, WhatsApp 67grant or 674-7268. Email grant.unit@belizetourismboard.org.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, February 16th. I am Sabrina Daly. Today was the state memorial for former Prime Minister Dr. Sir Manuel Esquivel, and we will have that coverage for you later in our newscast. But we open with a story of excessive use of force by law enforcement officers responding to a distress call that has put a man in the KHMH. Joshua Smith is admitted to ward at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, where he is recovering from gunshot wounds he received when responding officers opened fire on him. It is likely that he will remain visually impaired following a violent encounter with police on February 12th. We warn you that the images of Smith's injuries are quite graphic. News 5's Isani Cayetano reports.
When Laura Smith called Belize City Police on Saturday to intervene in a domestic altercation involving her 26-year-old son, she did not anticipate that the result of her request would leave him bedridden. That's because he was shot repeatedly with non-lethal rounds when the responding officers attempted to subdue him. At the time, Joshua Smith reportedly had in his purchase a knife as well as a hammer. He would pay dearly for refusing to let go of both weapons.
On the 12th of February, I came home and I saw him with bleeding from both hands, and he had a knife in his hand. So I went to my daughter's room and I was trying to figure out what was going on. She said, "Mom, I just heard a struggle. And I saw him all bloody up and I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's off, he's not acting himself." I said, "Oh my goodness, I wonder if someone is fighting, there were a fight in the yard or something." He said, "I don't know, mother, I just see him like that and he's completely off." I said, "Okay, I'll call the police so they can figure out what's wrong with him."
Believing that the matter would be resolved without incident, she placed a phone call for police to respond to her address on East Collette Canal. They answered and immediately dispatched a team of officers to the location, but they did not come to dialogue with Joshua.
You don't respond to a domestic matter between a mother and son. Go there. Yes, you find the person who is being complained about with weapons maybe in his hands, but he's not advancing toward you, and he's not advancing toward his family to harm them. He's standing still. And then you will pull out guns. I was instructed with live rounds to shoot the young man. Then you're told by a senior ranking officer in khaki uniform, shoot him with rubber bullets, and to shoot him below his knees.
Evidently, they did everything but. The wounds he sustained are grave, including those he suffered in both eyes.
They told him to put down the knife and the hammer. He did not comply. They called for backup. 4 more trucks came. The camouflage police, which I believe is the MIT unit, came and they told him to put down the weapon, put down the weapon. And then they started to shooting, and I heard the commander who was in charge told them, "Please use rubber bullet and please shut below the knee. But they were shooting him like crazy in his face and stomach area. I tried to tell them if they don't have a taser or something. They say no, they don't. And they continue shooting.
Joshua, according to his mother, braved the fusillade of rounds fired at him.
I remember the first set of police saying, but he is not normal, he is not falling. At this point you will kill him and he won't put down that knife. We have to use like a shield to get to him. So they look in my yard and they found like a wooden, a huge piece of wood, and they use it as a shield, and they went up to him and they apprehend him and handcuff him. The mighty unit was still shooting. He was bleeding from his face profusely. They hurriedly took him to the doctor because they say he's losing a lot of blood.
Smith has since retained the services of attorney Norman Rodriguez. He believes that the wounds inflicted upon Joshua Smith were unnecessary, as he purportedly did not pose a clear and present danger to the responding officers.
I can only say that from my perspective as an attorney at law, that the injuries were uncalled for, and we don't know if they're even life-threatening. The young man still has pellets or some bullet form lodged in his skull, in his lip, and we don't know if any has gone into his eyes because he was bleeding profusely for many days. But while it is a court of law that will decide what their intention is, I will definitely pursue, if the family instructs me to do so, that some sort of liability falls upon those who are responsible.
According to Smith, her son has not exhibited signs of mental illness, nor is he believed to have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs at the time of the incident. She says that since the ordeal, Joshua has not been able to explain to her what led to him drawing for the weapons he had in his possession at the time of the brutal encounter. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Police have arrested 2 people, one of whom is a minor, in connection with the chopping death of Filiberto Ramirez of Steadfast Village over the weekend. 20-year-old Oncel Lloyd Gilbert Lopez Jr. of Steadfast and a 16-year-old were jointly charged with the crime of murder today. On Monday, a missing persons report from the village led to the discovery of Ramirez's body near a creek. It had extensive chop wounds. The victim was last seen socializing with some men on Saturday night, but never returned home. She was to appear in the San Pedro Magistrates Court this morning, where further disclosure would have been handed over to her. But Jasmine Harton was unable to attend the proceedings, and neither was her attorney. The Canadian national, who has been charged for the manslaughter of Superintendent Henry Jamot, has contracted COVID, and as a result, the session had to be adjourned to another date. But it appears that this notice was not shared with the family of the slain senior cop, because disappointedly, after waiting almost an hour outside the court, they found out that the matter was adjourned. They left the court area, refusing to comment at this time. Drivers have been clamoring about the increase in fuel prices at the pumps, which since November of 2020 have gone up by more than $3 across the board. We are not sure if there was some breakdown in communication at the government press office, but overnight there was an increase in premium gas and kerosene. Yet, there was no accompanying notice from the Ministry of Finance, as is the usual practice. Premium gas increased by 17 cents and now retails at almost $13, while kerosene went up by 97 cents to almost $10. News 5's Dwayne Moody took to the streets for reaction to the price hikes.
If you went to the pumps today, you found that there were changes in the retail price of fuel, where all except for kerosene is selling at over $11. Premium gas is now $12.90 a gallon, while regular gas is being sold at $12.28. Diesel is at $11.56 per gallon, and kerosene is just below the $10 mark at $9.72. Taxi drivers are being hit hard.
Naturally, for some time now, we have been working at a loss. The pandemic has the entire world economy on its knees. And in addition to that, the gas price went up. We are working at a loss. The people do not have the money if we were to raise the price. Then we have a whole lot of checkpoints keeping back the traffic.
So will the hike trigger an increase in taxi fares?
I think for us as taxi driver, we should consider, we have to come up with our own strategy. I think what we need now, that smaller vehicle, more economic vehicle or something to that effect.
But that in itself is going to cost you because you have to purchase that?
Definitely. So I think we can say that we are at a standstill. We need to come to the drawing board and try to figure this out together, because for us as taxi driver, it's really not working.
But as we found out, there are other perspectives. Errol White says he's never heard of gas going down.
I buy gas and they need to do something about that.
Does it make you not use your vehicle now?
Well, I just have to spend more money and try to think about make more money for buy gas. You understand? But our crisis right now on the gas.
Right now it's sad, like the gas really go high, and people prefer like their own transportation by catching bus, because bus and other public transportation it kind of risky. And now like the $13. My gosh, it make me feel like we probably gonna get money for getting gas. Instead, right now we don't want, because we probably are getting money for buying gas for go.
Well, I don't drive, so it not affect me. So the people that will drive, well, they affect more than anything else.
And while, like Josie Herrera, you may not own a vehicle or motorcycle, you too are affected by the increase, because a hike in fuel prices drives up the cost of other commodities such as food and services. Taxi operator Theodore Figueroa agrees.
It affects everything, because movement, you need to move your food, you need to move everything you use. You have to move it from one place to your place. So it affects the fuel, because that is what we use for movement. Perhaps maybe the government could consider to subsidize some way so that they could keep the fuel price at a standard.
Will there be any relief anytime soon? Not according to the Prime Minister, who spoke with News 5 earlier this month.
Fuel brings in approximately $150 million of revenues to the government a year. That's the largest revenue earner of the government. For every 10 cents that we take off out of the tax, we lose $3 million. So if we remove $1, that means $30 million in taxes are going to be lost. And if we lose that $30 million in taxes, we need to get it somewhere else. Where are we going to raise taxes? We have not raised taxes. We have not raised the tax on fuel since we came into government. I have asked the Ministry of Finance to prepare a report. I will take it to the cabinet for us to discuss, because I do believe and I feel with Belizeans that on the price of fuel that it is too high. I am in that business. My brother and I, we own two service stations, so we hear it from people every day. So of course we want to reduce the price, but when we do that, we have to do it responsibly.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Coming up, a state send-off for a former Prime Minister. Remembering the Right Honorable Dr. Sir Manuel Esquivel when we return.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At DigiBusiness, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
My name is Abel Castaneda. I am a proud graduate of the University of Belize. I graduated with both an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree in the tourism program at the university in 2010. I'm originally from Belmopan, and currently I hold the post of the Director of Quality Management, Capacity Development, Cruise, and Registrar of Hotels at the Belize Tourism Board. The one thing I really like about my job is that it is a very dynamic industry that we work in. It is very people-driven, and so you have to work with persons on a daily basis, different scenarios. And at the end of the day, it's about trying to do your best in giving the guest the best experience that we can. My first career path was not necessarily tourism, it was actually in medicine. However, I did a transition over from that particular career path to tourism, and the University of Belize provided me the foundation. The one thing I really liked about the University of Belize is that it allowed you to find yourself, find your own career path. The lecturers there provide excellent guidance not only in your career, in your academic life, but also in looking forward to a future life in the profession that you choose. Growing up in Belmopan, I've always grown with the sense of needing to promote civic pride, and so I come from a background of very environmentally conscious parents, and one of the first things that we were taught was to give back to the community. In addition to that, my off time I dedicate to my family. I have a wonderful and beautiful wife, Wendy, that met at the university. I also have two children, Oni and Aini, a boy and a girl, and I dedicate my time to also trying to instill the very same type of value and civic pride that I was instilled when I was growing up, and even in my academic career. My name is Abel Castaneda, a proud Black Jaguar. I invite anyone that seeks to expand their horizons, build a professional career in various disciplines and areas of work, join the UB family.
Do people actually hear from God? Are there really angels and demons? Okay, now that's just unbelievable. In our next series, we're going beyond the Google search and facing the tough questions. It's time to take on the skeptic and eliminate the doubt. From inconceivable to unimaginable, we're talking about the Bible's most unbelievable truths. Every second of this series will be worth your while. Believe it or not.
When something is good and you can save, that makes it even better. Like this guy, he buys Flex bundles using his promo credit. No worries when his primary credit is finished. He gets talk, text, and data for free. Or her, she calls her family internationally with her promo credit. And with data packages so affordable, she even does video calls. Smart continues to offer great deals and affordable promotions. As a small business owner, she saves when she uses her promo credit to call the other guys. All Smart customers enjoy more triple days and knowing they can use their promo credit, which just lasts longer. Smart, bringing people together.
and maintain your yard the best way with Honda trimmers and lawnmowers. Honda Lawn and Garden Equipment. Available at Benquip. Equipment, parts, service.
With only 2 weeks before the highly anticipated Belikin La Ruta Maya Belize River Challenge, teams across the country are rigorously training. Today we visited the historic village of More Tomorrow, where we met up with a team of young men with big hearts. They go by the name of Young Cutters, and this year they will be competing with support from the Belmopan City Council. News 5's Paul Lopez was on the riverbank today.
The village of More Tomorrow is situated along the Belize River in the Cayo district. With a population of 30 families, this village is said to have been established over 2 centuries ago. Villagers live off the land and river for the most part. It is along these banks that Elvis Sutherland discovered his love for canoe racing. He is now the captain of the Young Cutters canoe team.
Since we were little boys, we live right up the bank, and you could just open your door and look at the river, and probably maybe when we were young kids we used to hear about Ruta Maya, and so we would just run down the bank, right? It's 8 o'clock in the morning, Ruta Maya is passing, we are excited, we just run down the bank, and we could see the race pass, and I guess that's where we got it from.
Today we met Elvis and his cousin Jermaine Sutherland as they were training for the La Ruta Maya Belize River Challenge in March. It is a 170-mile race spanning over 2 districts for the duration of 4 days. Jermaine's role is to steer the canoe.
That entails to a lot. It got to do with experience and a lot of training, because it's not just to steer the boat, it's to also look and to know and to stay focused at all time. A normal day of training is, you usually go more than the previous days. So if I do 2 hours today, tomorrow I might want to do 2.5, and the idea is to get tired.
They have the kind of experience and training that I do not possess. I quickly learned how much skills it takes to simply balance oneself inside a canoe. Getting in from the slippery riverbank was the first challenge. Once I settled in, the next task was to ensure that I was not the cause for our afternoon dip in the murky river. What tips would you have for me, besides losing the belly, what tips would you have for me to become better, a bit better at what you guys do?
Well, I think it has to do a lot of practicing, right? You do something one time, you do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you just get better, right? So a lot of it has to do with the amount of hours you sit in a canoe, right? So like you, for example, you sat 5 minutes in a canoe. Probably if you come next week and you sit 10 minutes, you're going to improve, right?
Elvis competed his first La Ruta Maya River Challenge back in 2010. The team he competed with placed second in the male category in 2018. Jermaine Sutherland has competed in 3 races, and Elvis's brother, Glenford Sutherland, who was not able to make it today, has represented Belize internationally. It is not only high risk, but also a costly sport. This is why most of the young men who remain in the village have committed their time and energy working on the farm or at the nearby sugar factory.
Ruta Maya is a very, very expensive sport. We look at a canoe, one of those canoes goes probably around $8,000, $10,000, right? And I guess people or villagers don't have the resources in terms of buying a canoe, buying a paddle, or those kind of things, or finding the support from the business community outside, right? So I guess that's one of the big barriers that has to do with overall in terms of Ruta Maya's participation, right?
To compete, teams secure sponsorship with public and private entities. The Belmopan City Council will be sponsoring the Young Cutters team in this year's race.
Our expectations are pretty high. I hope and I look forward to Ruta Maya.
And even the Howler Monkeys seem to be excited for the upcoming race. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Many businesses are not sponsoring canoe teams this year because of the financial hit they took as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Elvin Penner, president of the Belize Canoeing Association, told News 5 that although sponsorship is down, paddlers are still excited for the return of the sport. Many are going out with limited support, simply to compete once again.
I think it's absolutely fabulous, and the energy is definitely in the air. I know that this year the Ruta Maya race particularly, and even our races, has seen much less preparation time, much less practices, but I feel that the paddling community is way more excited about this year Ruta Maya than any other race before. I had a concern when we started doing our races again in early January that people would have relaxed. They would have said, you know what, we forgot about racing, we're not that interested anymore because they kind of were out of it for so long. But I am pleasantly surprised that they are really hungry to be out there again. I know some businesses will not sponsor this year because they have been drastically affected by all the COVID situation. But generally the teams are willing to paddle this year with less preparation, with less support. As long as they can get 2 guys to paddle with them, or 3 guys in a team, they have a decent canoe to paddle and decent paddles. Without much support, they will be racing.
This weekend, paddlers will get an opportunity to compete against each other and get back on the water to test out their equipment. The Belize Canoeing Association is also bringing back its Boom to the City canoe race, powered by Guineas. The competition has 7 categories. Penner told us more.
This is the second race we're doing this year. The first one we did was a few weeks ago, which was the Boom to the Manatee Lookout, where we already saw a lot of excitement. We had more teams already that we normally have in any one of our races, and we have seen the excitement keep building up. And the race we're doing this Sunday, the 20th of February, from Burrell Boom to the Riverside Tavern, it's pretty much the last leg of the Ruta Maya. It's called Boom to the City canoe race, powered by Guineas. So we have Guineas Bone and Bone to sponsor us. So this is pretty much known, and it is used as the preliminary race for the Ruta Maya. It's just 2 weeks before the Ruta Maya. So we kind of started this race so teams can come out and test their equipment, test how good they're in the condition they are, test their paddlers, see what their equipment is like, and see how well they're fit and how they fit in with the rest of the teams. And they still have at least 2 weeks to fix some of the errors.
After the break, in remembering Dr. Sir Manuel Esquivel, loyalists and friends share the impact he has had on their lives. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
The best mobile experience in Belize? You don't know? Well, the truth is, Digi, our national telecom, of course. Digi has the largest mobile LTE advanced network with over 96% countrywide coverage, offering the fastest mobile LTE data speeds at the most affordable rates with mobile plans that fit your lifestyle. The truth is, only Digi gives the ultimate mobile LTE experience. Visit your nearest Digi store to join the bigger, better network today. Digi, our national telecom. Visit us online at www.livedigi.com.
My parents always said, when it's time to build, invest in quality products that last a lifetime, even if it means paying a little more. It is now my turn to invest in my own home, and it's not even a question. It has to be Oran Windows. My contractor recommends Oran because of the heavy-duty construction, the thickest gauge blades on the market, and the dual locks that allow lower louvers to close independently for privacy while the top remains open for airflow. These features make Oran aluminum louver windows the best on the market.
With Oran aluminum louver windows, you get strength, durability, and beauty with an added layer of security and protection against debris and damaging winds. Come in and check out the variety of sizes and colors at Design Depot, located at Mile 3 Philip Goldson Highway in Belize City.
Through this process of the sidewalk and ramps construction, I will tell you that I was so excited because I envisioned how these sidewalks were going to be made and where were the exact needs of the sidewalks. Our students are coming back slowly. There have been 3 students in wheelchair. They have been coming to school and they have been accessing the ramps and the sidewalks, and the parents feel grateful and they are happier now that they don't have to be pushing the wheelchairs with much strength. I can say now, thank you very much on behalf of the staff and students of St. Peter's, especially for our students with special needs. They are the ones that benefit from these sidewalks most.
I visited the land of Serbia, a great many miles away. I ascended the Mount Everest few people have conquered. I roared on the snow-covered Antarctic and Arctic. I rolled swiftly across the vast, untamed desert. Ling Long Tire conquers every corner of the world.
Distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited, 2 miles Philip Goldson Highway, Belize City.
In these trying times, Smart is here to lessen the burden. Smart's reduced roaming rates save you while traveling. Calls back home are a low 35 cents per minute when visiting Canada, the US, and Mexico, or pay as low as 50 cents for calls when visiting countries in the Caribbean, Central, and South America. For the month of February and March, enjoy an unbelievable low rate of 30 cents per megabyte when roaming with mobile data in Canada, the US, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. Whether you are a business traveler, studying abroad, visiting loved ones, or just traveling for pleasure, Smart's new roaming rates have got you covered. Roaming in China, Europe, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean is as low as the cost of making a local call. It's that low. Smart's roaming coverage continues to grow, so you can also enjoy affordable roaming rates in several destinations across the globe. For more information on rates to other countries, visit our website or call 1090 for more details before you travel. Smart, bringing people together.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipids, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Belizeans are still being encouraged to get their jabs if they are not already fully vaccinated and boosted. And now you may have more time to do so. The Pfizer drug company has gotten approval to extend the deadline for its vaccine efficacy. In other words, if the original date for the shipment sent to Belize was the end of February, it is now the end of May. However, local storage may have some influence on this use-by date. This morning, the Central American Regional Director for the Center for Disease Control appeared on Open Your Eyes, where she discussed the reason for the extension. Dr. Emily Gutierrez was joined by Belize's own technical advisor to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Natalia Baer.
These vaccines, these Pfizer vaccines, are produced under what we call an emergency use authorization, and that's given out by the U.S. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, which is the regulatory body. So when a new vaccine comes on, they actually don't give it a specific expiry date. They put a pretty short date on it, and then as we accumulate more experience using that vaccine, so now we've had it for over a year, we know that, in fact, it is very shelf-stable. And this is what is able to give us the data required by not just the FDA, actually also the European Union Medical Advisory Board was able to give it 3 months over the date that's printed on the label. So this was for millions of vaccines, including the ones that were used in the United States.
The expiration date or the time that we can use the vaccines is dynamic also, because when we receive our national stock, that goes into the ultra low temperature freezers, and they can be there up to 6 months. But once we start deploying the vaccines to the districts, that time for the use of the vaccine is shortened just 1 month. So we have to follow the manufacturing companies' guidelines to ensure the potency of the vaccines.
Yeah.
And in this case, as Dr. Gutierrez was saying, the vaccines are relatively new, just like how we were studying, and I mean the scientists, the duration of the protection when one become infected with COVID-19. At the beginning, it was 3 months. Then they raise it up to 6 months based on evidence, and then up to 8 months, the protection. No? But again, COVID-19 is not in a vacuum. The host, the conditions of the host play a key role.
A new project was launched today for climate resilience in the coastal zone and fisheries. The Ministry of Economic Development, Green Climate Fund, Climate Finance Unit, and the Ministry of Blue Economy are all part of the steering committee that met virtually. The goal is to increase resilience in the face of rising temperatures and more frequent and intense tropical storms. This includes the improvement of the data and information systems, an adaptation plan, and priority areas for the fisheries and coastal zones. The duration of the project is 18 months, and the total grant financed by the Green Climate Fund is $1.2 million Belize dollars. As part of its corporate social responsibility, Belize Electricity Limited has made a contribution to assist a primary school in Orange Walk Town with the installation of a sidewalk and wheelchair ramps to connect to 4 school buildings. St. Peter's Anglican School, which offers inclusive programs for students with diverse abilities, is upgrading its facilities in time for the resumption of face-to-face learning. In a statement from Principal Osmair Henry, he said, quote, BEL's contribution towards construction of the ramps and sidewalks has significantly improved access to the school's facilities, especially for our 5 students in wheelchairs, unquote. The school has an enrollment of 266 students and 42 children enrolled in a special education program. A 6.8 magnitude temblor rocked buildings in Guatemala early this morning and claimed 2 lives. The National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction in Guatemala has reported that the first earthquake occurred at a depth of 60 miles and caused landslides on roads, light damage to houses, and power outages. The 2 people who perished suffered from heart attacks when the first big tremor hit. According to Reuters, the epicenter this morning was near Tiquisate, Guatemala. An aftershock measuring 4.8 was also reported later in the day. International media is reporting that tremors from the first quake were felt in parts of Mexico and El Salvador. There's more news coming up after the break, but first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
This weather update is brought to you by Smart. This weather update was brought to you by Smart.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriela and my name is Kieran. Today we're going to be learning how to put on makeup.
Connecting people. Creating memories. Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital digital experience.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this Smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize. Vaccination saves lives.
The ceremonies honoring Belize's second Prime Minister, the late Dr. Sir Manuel Esquivel, culminated today when the urn with his remains was slowly carried from his residence on Daly Street to the government house in Belize City. Here's News 5's Marian Ali with a report on the state memorial.
The 21 cannon blasts symbolically marked the send-off for Right Honorable Sir Dr. Manuel Esquivel, Prime Minister of Belize from 1984 to 1989 and from 1993 to 1998. The state memorial preceded a mini-concert comprising some of Sir Manuel's favorite musical pieces, fittingly reflective of the integral role that music played throughout his life.
Spell you cast. This is La Vie en Roses.
Joining the Esquivel family and friends at the state memorial were Prime Minister John Briceño, former Prime Minister Right Honorable Dean Barrow, Leader of the Opposition Moses Shine Barrow, former Ministers of Government and Senators. The late former leader's son, David, shared the family's remembrance of the man he called Dad.
While he is admired across the political spectrum, both locally and internationally, for his integrity, intelligence, and competence, to us, he's just Dad.
Sir Manuel's successor as UDP leader, who also went on to become Prime Minister, Right Honorable Dean Barrow, shared a bit about the kind of character that embodied his predecessor.
Any proper framing of Manuel's life and legacy begins with that most striking of oxymorons. He was an honest politician. Examples abound of his possession of this rarest of qualities, but 2 stories will suffice. One is of the Coruscant businessmen that visited his office to express their gratitude for Manuel's expansion of the free zone and the resultant huge increases in their profits. They knew better than to try to offer Manuel any personal financial token of their appreciation, but they wished to make clear that their thanks would mean substantial contributions to the UDP. Manuel stopped them right away.
Prime Minister John Briceño also conceded that this was a politician that stood for what he believed in.
History will find it rather incredible that a high school physics teacher would make this remarkable journey, which would not just see him rise to the highest office in the nation once, but twice. The job as a leader of a nation is not easy. Leading a nation just 4 years after independence must have been even more challenging. For sure, our second Prime Minister on occasions may have longed for those heady days teaching science at St. John's College. Perhaps there were days when he may have even asked himself, what could have motivated him to leave the formation of young men for the often turbulence of political leadership and the task of national government. Yet Prime Minister Esquivel stepped boldly on this path, facing challenges that were not easy.
The urn bearing the remains of the late Sir Manuel was given back to the family after the state memorial. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
News 5 spoke with some of the attendees of Sir Manuel's State Memorial this afternoon. They reflected on their time they shared with him and the legacy he leaves Belize.
I think he was the very personification of what public service should be, honesty, integrity, telling people what they need to hear as opposed to what they want to hear, that type of thing. And so he certainly taught all of us, what I think the ideal should be, and now it's up to us to try to live and emulate some of that. Many of the things he has set in place are still with us today. Many of the initiatives that came under NETEF, like the commercial free zone and the EPZs and all those things, I think had come out of the efforts in, I think, his first term.
I got to work with him professionally from the 90s. We were very close friends. He was my mentor, and at the time in 1998 when the UDP had lost the elections, he actually gave me the opportunity to come over to Price & Company, where I remained for somewhere between 7 to 8 years before going into full-time campaigning, prior to the 2008 elections. We're very close friends, a great man, a wonderful person, a loss not only for Belize but even for me as a friend that we were.
It wasn't difficult. However, it was a long hours of working, traveling all over the country. So it was indeed a long hours of work.
What was it like working with him?
It was fun. Let's put it that way. It was fun. Sir Manuel Esquivel was not the person who makes you feel as if though you're not doing your job. He left it up to you. He put that trust in every person who works with him as his security. And there are others who worked for him as his security. And I think I should take this opportunity also on behalf of Sir Manuel Esquivel, wife, Lara, Ruth, David, and the grandchildren. Thanks for the service they provided for him during his term as Prime Minister.
He was very influential with us starting the UDP Cayo South Division. One of the first meetings we had was with him, and then we carried through, and he sent his team to teach us about organizing the division. And the friendship has gone on for forever until now. Even so.
People have said that he's not the typical politician.
Oh, he has such a beautiful heart. Politicians have beautiful hearts too, but he has a beautiful heart. He had a beautiful heart. I babysat his children, And so that made us a bit closer, he and Kathy and I. So we go back so many years. You know, he appointed me to the first, when UDP won, he appointed me to the first board of ReconDev.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.